Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Let's take a look at all the important matters that are relevant to the country, the economy, as well as our money. Specifically, why House Democrats, specifically moderate House Democrats, are actually uneasy with the Pelosi infrastructure strategy. First, let's start by taking a look at Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who is a Democrat and who is from Brooklyn. And he said this, I quote, "The radical Republicans who have chosen the big lie over the rule of law are going to lecture the country, the Congress, and the House Democratic Caucus on law and order. Are you kidding me? Let's roll the tape and hear from Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Let's watch."
Congress is often a reactive institution. Republicans have been driving this narrative about what's going on with crime. In 1994, there was a big crime bill written by the current president that Democrats thought was going to help them win the re-election. It didn't work out that way. Are you concerned that Congress is not addressing the issue of crime since you guys are in the majority? And why haven't we seen a Democratic crime bill?
Let me address this issue of narrative, and I want to yield to Pete. So we're to believe that the radical Republicans who have chosen the big lie over the rule of law are going to lecture the country, the Congress, and the House Democratic Caucus on law and order? Are you kidding me? These are people who are denying what took place on January 6th.
In the meantime, folks, here's a very, very interesting article published by The Hill. A Trump supporter warns a CNN reporter of civil war if the former president is not reinstated soon. We'll provide you with the link to this article in the description section below, because a lot of people basically believe that the former president is going to be reinstated soon, his supporters. In the meantime, let's move on to more normal news. The Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, here's an article on The Hill, and as always, we'll provide you with the link to all of our resources in the description section below. McConnell says that Biden would be his desert island Democratic president. In other words, he was asked if you were to be stranded on a desert island and you can only have one companion, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, or Jimmy Carter, who would you choose? He said that he would choose President Biden. He said that would be the easy choice because he said President Biden is, I quote, a first-rate person. So I just thought that was extremely interesting in this bizarre climate that we live in. Speaking of bizarre, here's the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the Republican from California, who said that all Confederate statues that would be removed from the Capitol, I quote, are statues of Democrats. Yep, folks, this is indeed what is happening. Let's roll the tape and hear from the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the Republican from California. Let's watch.
All the statues being removed by this bill are statues of Democrats. Madam Speaker, as I heard the Speaker talk earlier about removing of the 4 portraits of speakers in the hall, the same answer goes for that as well. They were all Democrats.
And if you thought that was bizarre, here's a tweet from Parker Butler, and he's referring to Chip Roy, the congressman from the great state of Texas, the Republican. He has tweeted at least a dozen times, as you can see on your screen, this month alone, calling on Vice President Harris to visit the border. After she did, he went on the House floor and called the visit, I quote, a photo op. So as you can see, folks, this is all about politics as far as the Republicans are concerned. Let's check that out. Pretty incredible when you actually look at it. So here's Congressman Roy accusing the Vice President of going to the border for a photo opportunity. Let's take a look at Roy in action against Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's watch.
She found her way to the border, although it was in a pit stop on her way to Los Angeles, taking 4 hours to stop in El Paso for a photo op to go say hi to some Border Patrol en route to Los Angeles.
So I have a question for Congressman Roy. What's that? That looks to me like a photo opportunity. In fact, that's a whole bunch of Republican senators looking like morons, to be completely honest. Ted Cruz looks like he could lose some weight. Lindsey Graham looks like he needs to wear a hat. And so, look, let's be clear, folks. This is a definition of a photo opportunity. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at what's making the moderate House Democrats uncomfortable. Here's the headline of an article on your screen from CNN. Moderate House Democrats are uneasy over Pelosi's infrastructure strategy. What is happening here is pretty interesting. Here's a quote from Congressman Ed Case of Hawaii, and he said this: "I do have concerns." He said, "I think that a bill can actually pass Congress and get to the president's desk. I want to pass that, and so I want to strike while the iron is hot." Why? Why did he say this? Simply because House Speaker Pelosi actually wants to hold up the entire bipartisan infrastructure deal until the Senate approves a larger Democratic bill the reconciliation bill. And basically, he said, he was specifically asked whether tying the two together could kill both efforts. He said, I'm concerned about that. Here's a quote from Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who's a co-chair of the bipartisan coalition, who, by the way, is from a crucial swing Virginia district. Abigail said this: I think it'd be incredibly disappointing if there's a bill from the Senate waiting for our action and we choose to delay it in an arbitrary manner. Pretty interesting. Also, Spanberger said this: my hope is that we will move this bill as expediently as we can when we get it. What I want to see happen is that when there is a bill that can get bipartisan support, that can pass out of the Senate, that will meaningfully impact our communities and our country and bring jobs for Americans, we should take that vote as quickly as possible. In fact, Congressman Jared Golden, who's a Democrat who represents a key swing district in Maine, would not say if he was okay with House Speaker Pelosi's approach. He simply said plenty of time to talk about that. Now, I want to be clear. House Speaker Pelosi does have her share of supporters. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, the chairwoman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, said this: we have an agenda that we have to accomplish, and linking the two bills is the only way it's going to get accomplished. We did a poll of our members 10 days ago, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said that they're not going to vote for a bipartisan deal without the reconciliation package. So, folks, this is where things stand. And a lot of centrists have actually expressed concerns over the big price tag. The Democratic Congresswoman Elisa Slotkin of Michigan said she is willing to consider a reconciliation package, but she sounded pretty frustrated, and she said, but show me what's in it. Don't talk about it in generalities. She also said, show me what it's going to do for my district, for the country, and then I'm willing to consider it. I don't love it, and I want to make sure we need to actually spend that money. Finally, here's a quote from Congressman Sherry Bustos, who's a Democrat from Illinois. I think we just have to leave all options on the table to make sure that we get something done. I think Pelosi is smart enough and strategic enough to make sure that this is not going to sink anything in whatever direction we go. Folks, politics is about timing, opportunity, tribalism, us against them, and perception. House Speaker Pelosi wants to make it seem like she's super tough and she can essentially have this negotiating strategy, this tactic. But in the end, infrastructure must pass. Millions of jobs need to be created, and the country needs to be moved forward. I also believe that House Speaker Pelosi will find a way to make sure that there is much more in the Democrats' reconciliation package. I do foresee that both will pass, but both may not pass at the same time. I'll keep you posted. As always, I'll always bring you the truth on this channel wherever the truth might lead us. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.